Yes. Good afternoon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everybody. Welcome to this session, which is titled Performance in Education. Welcome, Miss Corina. Thank you for accepting our invitation for delivering this important lecture in the Arab English Teachers Association. I am Shawqia Hawawre, the president of this association. I welcome you and welcome all the attendees from all over the world. Let's begin with with watching this short video, and then I will begin introducing my guest speaker, and then we will begin our session. Okay. Yes, thank you. Welcome another time. Welcome for this important session. It is hosted by the Arab English Teachers Association. It is the 13th webinar titled Performance in Education. And we welcome another time Mrs. Corina Sujdea from Romania. And I hope that you will enjoy and get benefit from this session. Welcome another time, Miss Corina. Welcome my attendees, my guests from all over the world. And let's begin introducing our guest speaker, who is called Miss Corina Sujdea from Romania. She has experience in teaching for about 24 years. She is Erasmus and European project coordinator, e-twinning coordinator, International Cultural Passport Project founder, and I am very fond of this project because I am the ambassador for my country, Palestine, in this initiative. Thanks for Miss Corina for it. Thank you very much, and I am very glad to be with you in this initiative. Also, Miss Corina is the co-founder of the Worldwide Green Project, and also I'm so glad and pleased, and it is my honor to be with her another time with this initiative with many other ambassadors from all over the world. Also, Ms. Corina is an International Youth Society Country Director. She is Eco Training Center Sweden Country Director, the Voice International Country Director, the Kids Foundation Country Director, the EduClaus Committee Member, the World Book of Records Committee Member, the Peace Ambassador in Romania, and the IDYM Goodwill Ambassador Romania, the President of Law Support Center for Human Rights Romania, the Global Award for the Most Innovative Teacher 2015, Best Teacher Award for 2021. It is our honor to have you, Miss Corina, for this good achievements and very distinguished achievements all over the world. Thank you another time for accepting this invitation. And now now you can go ahead. Welcome another time.
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to tell you that this is an honor for me as well to be invited here in your community of teachers of English. I'm not an English teacher. I don't teach English. I am a class teacher in Romania. I teach in Romanian language, actually. I was learned English by myself a few years ago in order to can be involved in Erasmus project because I wanted to travel to another countries. And thanks God, this dream came true for me. And to know English was a big point in such a project. Thank you again. Please, if you can share the first video I have sent you, and after that I can share my presentation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome. I share it now. Yes, now we can begin with it. Very nice. I like it.
Thank you. You will ask me what has this video to the ones in education. I start with this video because I believe that everything we share, everything we plant in our students' mind and heart, it's what we will take at the end. So if we plant in their minds performance, knowledge, but not only because we cannot do performance without to teach them how to love each other, how to be empathetic, how to be kind and honest. We cannot take at the end, we cannot win their hearts and their minds. That's why I prefer to start with this short video. And now let me proceed with my presentation. And you will tell me if you can see the presentation. Can you?
Yes, now it is visible. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I will try to make the ecran large. So the theme of today is performance in education. I am Corina Sujdea, a teacher from Romania, international educator, and involved in many international organizations, as you can see at the start. So, do you think employers who want to improve their job performance of each of their employees should communicate their thoughts about how to improve to the entire workforce at once, or to each employee as an individual? The answer to the above question might seem obvious, but innumerable employers don't communicate properly to their employees. Consequently, many employers never get to know many of their employees. They never learn how to utilize their employees' skills, what their employees' short and long-term work objectives are, and what will motivate them to perform better at work. A failure to communicate, as the warden tells the inmates in the movie Cool Hand Luke, and you can find the movie in Google, can cause problems among people who are being supervised. No, I cannot see what I text here because of this line. Yes. At the office, it can cause a moral problem among the staff as a whole, and or a more moral problem among specific individuals. So what we need? Teachers need to communicate with every student. Students who get good grades can't improve their academic skills merely by doing well on tests. Some of them need to write better if they are going to succeed in college. Others need to learn how to work better with classmates. Others need to be motivated to transform themselves from students who do well on tests to students who can start and finish independent projects, the kind of ability they will need to succeed in college and in the workplace in the future. And then there are the shy students. There were many of them in my class, and they still are there. They lacked the confidence to speak in class, so they didn't. Their grades were fine to excellent, but they needed someone to spur them to volunteer their thoughts and insights. They needed to improve their oral communication skills. Of course, I don't want to discount a teacher's ability to inspire students via exciting classroom lessons, creative assignments, and enthusiastic personality that challenges students to be super achievers. But the best way for students to improve their skills is to get specific feedback and advice from their teachers. This feedback and advice helps them focus on what they need to do to maximize their potential. I remember when someone walked into a class during my senior year in high school and told the teacher that the principal's office wanted to speak to a student in the class. Of course, there many students did rumors. The student who was called was shy, even he has had good grades. As he walked out of the class, several students behind him mumbled in astonishment that this student was in trouble. Really? Do you think this is true? Not, because the student wasn't in trouble. He had written to his congressman seeking to interview him for a journalist class assignment. The congressman office responded via the school rather than the student's home address. So there was a very good point for that student actually. The assumption that teachers and administrators should focus their attention on problem students has to end. Teachers in particular should go out of their way to spend roughly the same time with each student. Lisa Simpson deserves as much attention as Bart Simpson, and Lisa Simpson and Bart Simpson are just imaginative personages in the story, which means that each and every student must have the same right. A teacher's advice to a student should be private. While the most important advice I can give to teachers is to stress the positive about a student's performance, to tell her or him 3 things that she or he did right before getting into constructive criticism. It's still important that other students not hear the critics. In short, it's more important for teachers to communicate with students privately, one-on-one, than for employers to communicate with employees privately, one-on-one. It's important for students at all grade levels, but it's more important for high school students than grammar school students. How can students improve their academic skills? Below are 25 tips for teachers and how they can improve each student's academic performance via one-on-one private conversations. 1. Be positive. Before getting into the step-by-step part of what a teacher has to do to formulate an effective strategy for communicating with his students, I want to emphasize how important it is to have a positive frame of mind before getting started. As a teacher, you can be a disciplinarian when managing a classroom of 20 or 30 students, but you should not be a disciplinarian in one-on-one meetings. Emphasizing the positive, it's very crucial. Be specific in your price. I said earlier that telling students 3 things they did right in their work before being critical, it's very important. But the price should be as specific as possible. If you are analyzing, for example, a fictional writing assignment, you could prize the students' imagination, dialogue, and characters. Then you can get into the flows. Many people have told me that they hate writing because a teacher emphasized their spelling and grammar mistakes. Stressing the negative can discourage students from improving an important skill. Formulate an organized plan. You should have a plan for private one-on-one conversation with your students before the school year begins. That means mapping out how much time you intend to spend with students. I would suggest meetings with each student once a month for 10 minutes. Your classroom environment might dictate the logistic of the meeting. You want to be respectful of students' time, so private meetings during class while the rest of the students are working on an assignment, for example, is one of the options. Tell students your plans. Inform students on the first day of class about your plans to meet with them one-on-one. Remember, many students are conditioned that they only meet with a teacher when they've done something wrong. Put your plan in writing on a separate sheet of paper from the course syllabus and your classroom's rules, which students should help draft. Emphasize in your plan that your objective is to work with each student as an individual to improve their academic skills. The skills such as critical thinking, ability to question, writing, and speaking should be listened. Of course, you inform your students, but you must inform the parents of your students about your plan. Informing administrators about your plans is probably mandatory, but informing your students' parents is also crucial. Urge students to show their parents all the written material you give them on the first day of class. Post your plans on your class website and or class Facebook page, WhatsApp group, and so on, if you have one or another, or figure out a way to communicate with parents. Keeping parents informed about their children's progress, it's also crucial. Emphasize that you are meeting with every student, not only with a few of them. Be as private as possible. Communicating with parents might help you avoid the problem of one-on-one meetings with students in classes when their classmates can hear the conversation. Privacy is essential for effective meetings. Ask parents whether post-school meetings are permissible if you can't meet with students privately in your classroom or an adjacent room and simultaneously monitor the other students. Post-school meetings without the consent of parents and students is disrespectful. So meetings in your office during study hall are also possible. Treat every student equally time-wise. Don't spend more time with some students in your formal one-on-one meetings than others, and remind students that is your decision. Students can be quick to conclude that you have favorites if you spend more time with some of them. You can still make yourself available to students who seek your help outside the format of the one-on-one meetings, but make it 100% clear that you encourage all your students to seek this kind of help. Don't treat every student equally advice-wise, because some students respond exceptionally well to constructive criticism, but others don't. During the school year, you will learn which students need to be treated with kid gloves. Seeking the advice of these students' parents is an excellent way to learn how to convey advice and feedback to them. Watch the students' expressions as you talk to them so you know when to praise them to boost their morale. Listen before talking. Let your students talk before you do. This is particularly important in your first meeting. Let the students tell you who they are. You want to know each student well before giving them advice. Ask open-ended questions if they are reluctant to talk. Take notes so you can remember details about the student. Make it clear in future meetings that you remember specific facts about your students. Hearing without listening is not a good thing, as the Simon and Garfunkel song The Sound of Silence implied. Students will feel more respected if you know and understand them. Set high expectations. Actually, is what I am doing with my students all the time. Emphasize in your first meeting that you have high expectations from every student. Students with mediocre or worse grades might have low expectations because they've struggled in school for years. It's your job to boost their confidence and tell them that every student has skills that will help them succeed in life, even if the student is unaware of those skills or their skills haven't helped their grades. Tell students that you will work with them to find and or improve those skills. Be clear that you will insist on high expectations throughout the scholar year. Urge not taking. For some inexplicable reason, many students and adults as well consider taking notes a sign that your memory is deficient. It's not true. The students already know you are taking notes. Tell them why and urge them to also take notes. Emphasize that your advice and feedback to them will be very specific, so they should write down the highlights and consult their notes as they seek to improve their skills. Don't grade. These meetings are about helping each student. During the school year, Some students will improve more than others. Assessing each individual's progress is important, but be specific without making a judgment. Hopefully, your advice and feedback will improve the student's performance on tests and class assignments, but they are a separate issue from your one-on-one discussions. Be friendly, not a friend. It's very important. Also, you want your students to reveal who they are so you can help them learn. It does not work both ways. They can tell you about their personal lives, but you should not reciprocate. Relating anecdotes from your life as a teacher and student that could help them learn is appropriate. For example, you can tell them that the writing to public figures as a child sparked your interest in social studies. However, telling them about personal matters unrelated to their learning and getting together as friends outside class, it's not appropriate. Maintain your composure. This tip seems obvious, but it needs to be mentioned. Some students will disagree with your analysis of their work as well as your advice and feedback. Arguing with them is counterproductive at best, rude and unprofessional at worst. Working on what to say to students who disagree with you is crucial. You can say something like, I respect your opinion. You could be right. However, my opinion is based on 10 years of teaching and working with hundreds of students. That doesn't mean I'm right, but I believe my opinion has validity. Admit mistakes. Students and adults don't like someone who acts like a know it all. Teachers who are criticizing others are particularly susceptible to being disliked if they act like they never make mistakes. After all, we are human beings, so mistakes are there for everybody. If you made a mistake, such as give advice that doesn't work, admit it. The student will like you more and trust you more. Trust is important if they are going to listen to you in the future. Besides, students often know when the teacher has made a mistake. Simplify the skill categories. Giving students detailed advice is crucial, but you should simplify your overall analysis of their work. You should summarize their performance once each session. Don't list more than 5 or 6 skills. Which skills you list depends on what subject you are teaching, but examples of skills are working with classmates, writing, speaking, problem solving, creating thinking, analytical thinking, research, reading comprehension, and completing assignments effectively. Using the same categories throughout the school year make it easier for students to follow their progress. Give advice on how to improve. You just told a student that she did 3 things right in her essay. It was well organized, was presented in a reader friendly way, and had conclusions that were bolstered by evidence cited in the essay. No, you are giving her the constructive criticism. Her spelling and grammar needs improvement. Don't circle every error. That shapes a student's morale. Instead, give her advice on how to improve. You could give her a guide to grammar book, for example, or you might tell her to read a certain amount of books or periodicals or a certain kind of books or periodical. Be specific. Encourage questions. Do not lecture when you get to the constructive criticism. In fact, you should treat this meeting as a dialogue rather than the equivalent of an employer grading the performance of an employee. Encourage students to ask questions about your evaluation. You want to convey a few crucial points in one-on-one meeting, but don't seek to control the meeting. Remember how important listening is. Don't be a conformist. And don't expect your students to be conformists either. Your students should be improving academically because of their individual qualities. They shouldn't all be striving for the same goal. Be open to students learning in an unconventional way. A few of the tips below this one provide examples of unconventional advice you can give to students. More importantly, be open to students taking the initiative and suggesting ways they think will improve their academic skills. An example is volunteering to make a speech on a topic that interests them. Utilize students' interests. By letting students tell you who they are, you can improve your chances of formulating a strategy to help them improve their academic skills. If you are a math teacher, for example, you might be frustrated that so many students hate maths. Perhaps, thought, a few students love basketball. Instead of giving them a math problem out of a textbook, you can ask them to figure out LeBron James' scoring average by having them add how many points he scored in each game and then dividing that total by the number of games. Yes, that approach worked for me with one student. Encourage independent reading. Just like some students hate maths, others despite reading the books required in an English class. If you are an English teacher, you can help students improve their ability to analyze a book by letting them read a book of their choice, a sports book, for example. In class, this could be a substitute assignment. You can then go over the students' book reports and present your analysis of their work in your one-on-one meetings. Hopefully, the students' writing skills will improve when they are writing about something they are interested in. Encourage them watching movies. Social studies teachers also often find that students are uninterested in their classroom lessons. Remember, your objective as a teacher is not to have students memorize facts, but to have them improve their academic skills. Can they write and speak about the historic event like the American Revolution intelligently? Perhaps they can show their skills after watching a popular movie or documentary about a historic event. Deducing which student learn better via an alternative type of learning, like videos, can help students when you go over their work in a one-on-one meeting. Be very specific about non-graded work. Giving detailed feedback about grades, papers, and essays is important, but assigning students participation in class discussion and group projects is important too. These activities often aren't part of a student's grade. That's up to you. Take detailed notes during class so your feedback in the one-on-one meetings can be specific. Your feedback might include whether the students are making good points concisely or talking too much, and whether they are excelling in a group project or being too dominant or too passive. Help students with oral communication. Many students, including a surprising amount of students who have very good grades, lack the confidence to talk in class. Use the meetings as an opportunity to help them practice talking. Ask them the kinds of questions you ask in class. Let them respond. Don't judge them. Keep asking different questions. You could tell them the question you will ask in tomorrow's class so they have a day to prepare and answer. Asking them the same question you have already asked them sounds amateurish, but this strategy has helped bring students out of their shell. Discuss students' future. Many students won't understand this zealous effort to improve their skills. They think their skills are fine, particularly if they get good grades. It's your job to emphasize that they might need to improve many of their skills if they want to excel in college, graduate school, and the workplace. Telling them about your experiences or the experiences of others as you or they struggle to make the transition from high school to the next level is beneficial. Besides, you want to tell students that they should want to maximize their potential. Praise them as they improve. Conclusions. Know that I have given you 25 tips for how you can improve each student's performance via one-on-one private conversations. I have a tip for how you can improve your own performance. Don't overwork. Yes, I have just advised you to spend who knows how many more hours meetings with individual students than you were previously. However, that doesn't mean you should be working more hours. Work smarter and harder, but you don't necessarily have to spend more time working. Working smarter might mean fewer classroom lectures and replacing them with interesting assignments for students as you talk to one of their classmates. Working harder might mean improving your time management skills. Or you can tell your principal that you want to be paid more because of your remarkable dedication to the academic success of your students. That's a joke. Good luck to all of you, and thank you. I will stop sharing.
Thank you, Ms. Corina. Thank you for this fruitful presentation. We hope that our guests get benefit from it. And now, if there is any question, please, you can raise your hand and ask Ms. Corina. She is ready to answer your questions.
Yes, please.
Yes, please, if there is any question, please raise your hand. And note that there is a feedback form. I sent it to you, and also the form for certification. You can fill it correctly. And as for the form for certification, if you fill it correctly and properly, you will receive your certificate immediately via your email that you wrote it. Yes, Miss Ilham is raising her hand. Please go ahead. The floor is yours.
Yes.
Welcome. عليكم
السلام
السلام.
عليكم.
Hi, how are you, Miss Ilham? Miss you.
Fine. I miss you, Miss Shawqia. كيف حالك أم أنس؟
الحمد لله. الله يبارك فيك. أهلا وسهلا
الله
فيك.
يبارك
Go
فيك.
ahead, please.
Yes. Hi, Miss Corina. We miss you also. We miss you
Hello.
too. Hello.
I
You are welcome.
miss
You
you
are
all.
welcome in our association. Yes. I want to thank you very much for your fruitful and interesting session. Yes, it's very interesting in our situation, especially. Uh, first, I want, if you please, of course, if we have your PowerPoint, because it's very useful and excellent advices and tips
I
for
will
us.
send to Miss
Shawqi,
Shawqia, and
inshallah.
she will send to you. Sure.
Yeah,
Inshallah. Thank
inshallah,
you.
yes. And in short, yani, as you say, as teachers, we should have and form good relationships with our students in different levels and in all situations. And yes, as you say, to be positive in spite of our hard conditions, whether the occupation or the pandemic, um, corona. Yes,
Mhm.
and to be also clear with them, and if necessary, to communicate with their parents. Yes, and of course, as you say, teachers should be private and equal with their relationships and with all students, and of course, try to support them, motivate them by saying that they are able to do and they are able to be great and to be good things to achieve, yes, their aims and to achieve their dreams. I just to thank you again for your fruitful session, Ms. Corina, and welcome in our association.
Thank you very much. I totally believe in what I wrote in this presentation, because it's very important we to know very well our students in order to can help them.
Yes, yes,
Just
of course.
to have them in our class and to
In
know,
the world, to be
yeah.
something important
Yes.
in the country. Yes. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you too.
Thank you, Miss Ilham, for this positive comment. Thank you very much. Now
Yes, you are
let's
welcome,
move to
Ms.
another. Thank you. Now let's move to another one. If there is any question, and I remind you, please, to fill the feedback form and the form for certification. If there is any question, you can raise it. I want to ask you, Ms. Corina, thanks another time for your nice and distinguished presentation. And of course, we get benefit from it. As for myself, for example, I want you to give some tips. How can we motivate our students, especially in the pandemic and in the COVID-19 situation? They lost the intrinsic motivation. How can we motivate our students, for example, to be inspired, to be engaged in the teaching process via Teams, via Zoom, etc.? What are the tips?
Exactly what you said right now. Engage them. I mean,
Yes.
ask them to help you in prepare your lesson. If you have
Yes.
to teach something, you must inform them that the subject for the next hour it's this one, for example, and you can ask them to find in Google or YouTube videos or short presentations or any documents related to your topic, and in your lesson all of them to be involved in presenting. And the most important, when they are in Zoom, for example, or any other platform, it's never to discourage them. Doesn't matter the way they got that document which they present you, they must be encouraged for what they did, must be motivated. You, as I told in my presentation, you can start with 3 good points they did, and after that you can go through criticism, but in a way that you don't hurt them. Depends now. I am working with primary class students. this is more easy for me because they are all the time interested in, for example, different jokes, different games. So I can get in front of them with different things which they don't know and don't see before. For teachers who are working with students from colleges, from high schools, there is a little bit different situation. That's why I believe one of tips is to engage them, to start your lesson with what they prepared. In this way, you are sure that they search in internet, they did a short research, and will came up with something.
Thank you. You mean, as I think, the flipped classroom is helpful very much for them. For example, when I want, for example, to explain about present simple, about passive, tag a question, or about any vocabulary lesson, I can send a short video for them or a work paper before the day that I want to explain the new lesson. And I'll ask them to watch, for example, the video and write two examples. What did they understand from it? And next day, I can ask them many questions about what did they see, what did they watch, what is the important idea in it. If it is correct, I can, for example, urge and motivate them. If it is not, I can correct it and go ahead
Yes.
with explaining correctly about the new topic. Thank you
Exactly.
very much.
With
Thank
their
you.
help.
Yes, thank you. Now, there is Miss Nadia. Please go ahead. I saw Miss Nadia. No, Sakala, if it is correct. Sakala, please go ahead.
Thank you
Miss
so much.
Sakala.
Thank you so much, Mom.
Yes,
I'm so
welcome.
excited to be among my fellow linguists, educators, and colleagues. I'm joining you from Zambia, a teacher of English and the Zambian languages.
Welcome, welcome, Mr.
Primary and
Sakala.
secondary.
Welcome to our meeting.
The topic
We are
under
very happy
discussion,
to have
our able doctor or professor has presented is really very interesting and very important. Now my question is, in a situation where the networks it's really bad and the gadgets where students can use is really scarce. In a situation like Zambia, where I'm joining from, yes, technology has come not to stay but to live, actually, and we need to embrace technology. But the challenge that the most vulnerable communities or areas or countries are facing is the use of the gadgets themselves, or the use of ICTs properly. And maybe the gadgets themselves are not even enough. The network itself it's really bad, and where they can source some power to have the gadgets on, it's really a challenging situation. Now, when it comes to a teacher who's supposed to know technology again, sometimes very few teachers have got that an interest to have a know-how on how to use such items like this situation. Yeah. Now, how can we be able to motivate a learner and at the same time embrace technology in our teaching as we implement this type of teaching that we are advocating, and which is also very important, that we cannot run away from it. Thank you.
Don't get you very well, but I believe you want to know how you can motivate the students when there it's not technology available in your area for students, for example. Yes, this was the question.
I can't get you, Mom.
Yeah, the internet connection is very low. I can see. I believe on your side. So
Okay, I can get you.
the question was how can you motivate your students when there it's not not internet or not technology in your area, something like this?
Yes.
Yes. If, for example, if you are teaching in a village, yes, and you have, I don't know, 15, 20 students. I believe between 15, 20 students, there must be even one student who has a device or network. You can tell them to be together for 1 hour, or what I will do, for example, I will take them in my house and I will find a way to work with them even for 1 hour per day, or 1 hour in after 2 days, something like this. If we want to find ideas, it's not very hard. Important is the wish which we have to go on with teaching, because we must think that every student from each corner of the world deserve to be educated. Each student need improvement. Maybe not all the students has the same chance to technology, to internet connection, to many other facilities, but this doesn't mean that they cannot learn. And this depends on us. We must be the innovators, the leaders, the people who find solutions and never reasons. Because to find a reason, I cannot do it because I have not internet. I cannot do it because my student has not a mobile phone. No, it's not like this. For each problem, it's like in maths. For each problem, there it's even one solution. So let's focus on solutions, and by positive mind, we will find one solution for each of our students.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mom. I like it.
Thank you.
I think even we such type of orientation, that type of meeting that we are having now, it's really very important, where we are sharpening one another. We are learning from each other how best we can do it. And I think the other thing that we can also do as teachers, maybe exchange visits. A teacher from Zambia, a teacher from a country goes to another country, and some have a meeting, orientation, a discussion, so that we learn what others are also doing different from us, and from that can be also a great impact.
I'm
Yeah.
working in international community, maybe from 2010, something like this. And you know, many times I was invited in classrooms, for example, in India, in Pakistan, in Bangladesh, in Nepal, and joining the class, and I not giving lectures to them, but trying to share to them some knowledge on one topic chosen by their teachers. And after that, I have discussions with the students, and they were so happy that they can speak in English, they can ask in English, and they can get a lot of information from different parts of the world. So it's important. We can have nowadays this possibility.
Yes,
Fantastic.
because practicing English outside the classroom is very necessary.
Yes.
As you know, only as English teachers, we just practice using English language inside our classes, even us as teachers. But here I see and I think that coronavirus, although it was a disaster and a curse, but at the same time, it was a blessing for us as global teachers. We communicate with many global and local teachers and educators from all over the world and practiced our English with them perfectly. We many times, as you said, Miss Corina joined many classes inside India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Bangladesh, Tunisia, etc. And we communicate with teachers as well as students. And it was a very great and a nice opportunity to practice using English language and to improve our English language perfectly. Thank you for communicating. Thank you, Mr. Sakala. Now let's move to Mr. Muaz. Please, the floor is yours. Go ahead. Mr. Muaz, welcome.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. First of all, I want to, yes. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, I want to greet you heartily for this awesome lectures and for these 25 keys, okay, golden keys. First, I'm Muaz bin Salih al-Zughlami. I am a teacher of English and I'm a coach of life skills. First of all, I want to share with you and with all the participants my experience with this risk takers, as you said before, okay, who are a child, who don't like only to mention or to participate. As for my students, they have a project work, okay, and in the past, okay, or previously, they only want to write all their project works and to hand them to their teachers. Of course, we have to innovate, as you said, okay. I recommend, okay, and I did recommend for them to present it orally on the stage, of course, but before that, I trained them how to speak, how to move, how to use their voice. Of course, as you know, we have low achievers, high achievers, we have average, and of course, these risk takers, okay, after seeing their colleagues and they are applauding them and encouraging them, okay? And of course, I have lots and lots of students who are out of this bad circle, and now I cannot, as you say, let's say, I depend on them on other project works, okay? And that's it.
You can see their improvement.
Yeah.
That's what we want, actually.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks
Okay.
a lot,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Muaz, for your comment.
Thank you.
Yes. Now let's come to Miss Nadia. Please help yourself. Welcome, Miss Nadia. Hi, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm good. It's me, Nadia Noreen from Pakistan. Actually, I have a question relevant to psychological and emotional well-being of the students. Most of the time, we talk about the physical aspects relevant to building, relevant to course contents, pedagogy, pedagogical patterns, and ICT, technology, and all these things. But one thing which is not visible, and this invisible aspect is usually ignored. What do you think? What is the role of psychological and emotional well-being of a student when it comes to the teacher? How effectively are the teachers playing role in catering or addressing to this very aspect of students' well-being? And if it is there, and I have personally seen that this area of well-being is usually ignored. What do you think? What is your contribution? Because the topic is relevant to performance in education. And when we talk about performance in education, the well-being and emotional health or psychological well-being of the students is very important part, and it should not be ignored. What is your idea and opinion on this aspect?
If you was with us from the start, you will notice I have started my presentation actually in the first or second slide with with the idea that the teacher must first of all know very well his students. This means in psychological way. This means to know not only what you see outside, but everything is inside of the student. Because you asked about the impact of other teachers. I believe we are the models. We are role models for our students. It's not important what we tell them, because children never will listen what you tell, but they will copy, paste what the way you behave. So if you are kind person, if you are a calm
Caring,
person,
concerned.
yes, they will learn from you the same things. So it's very
Exactly.
important to have this how to say, to be very, very close to your students. As I said, be friendly, but don't be a friend.
Yes.
Be friendly in order to know their mind, to know their heart, to know
Exactly.
how you can go on with work with them. But
Yeah.
to be a friend, it's not appropriate. So yes,
Exactly.
well-being of the students is all the time very, very important.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Miss Nadia, for this question. As Miss Corina said, knowing about the well-being of our students is very crucial, especially in the situation that we were living and are still living under it, which is COVID-19. Because as you know, there are many and several problems that arise in this crucial stage. And as educators, we should care more and more about the well-being of our students and to motivate them, to engage them, to inspire them, to trust them also. And as Miss Corina said, to be friendly with them, not too friends, not too private with them, because if there is trust between us as educators and as pupils, there will be good performance in education and in their well-being. Thank you for this nice question. And I want to congratulate Miss Corina for this nice presentation. And I present this appreciation certificate from the Arab
Thank you
English
very much.
Teachers
Thank you.
Association. And from me as the president of this association, I'm Shawqia Hawawre from Palestine, as you know. And I congratulate and thank her for this nice presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much as well. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Now, if there are any other questions, please raise your hands. Yes.
I wanted to tell related to Mrs. Nadia question. What I'm doing, for example, in order to have a good point about my students in their break time, I always stay in the class and I just work something or do something, but somehow I noticed them. Okay, so I can see whatever they are doing in the class, if they are talking with their colleagues, if they have different behavior, and I can know them without they to know that I do this. So this helped me all the time to work on their well-being. Sometimes I call the parents if I noticed something. There in my school, it's a psychologist, also a logoped professor. So yes, we are going to school nowadays. This year we was not in online. It was a short part, but now we are in the school. It's very good for us.
Yes, thank you. Now let's move to Mr. Amir. Please go ahead with your question. Mr. Amir.
Yes, with you, ma'am. Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Shawqia and
Welcome.
Mrs. Corina. We enjoyed the session very much. And I'd like to ask you, how do we measure what we call our performance during this, the school, yeah? Or yes, at that time, yani, how do we measure education performance? Yes. How do we measure our education performance as a teacher? How I can, what you call, measure it? Yeah.
I believe we are teachers, but at the same time we are learners all the life. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we must read very much. We must get in contact with news. with new technology, with new books, with new strategies. So all the time we have to learn, and it's most important to learn from our experience. For example, I am 25 years in the school, 25 plus years in the school. Of course, in the first 2-3 years, I was just a young lady who knows nothing. And most of the time, I feel like students was better than me.
Yeah.
But nowadays, by time, by experience, by following many trainings and courses and research and so on, I improved myself, my qualities as a teacher. I believe this. Nowadays, I can say there it's almost nothing I cannot handle in a class with a student. Why? Because I am the teacher who always will find a solution, as I said before, and I will not stop and will say, "Oh no, I cannot do it. I'm not able to understand this." If I don't know something, I must go to everybody, maybe to another teacher who is more experienced than me, or to library to take a book. And I learn day by day from my colleagues, from my students, from my experiences of life. I learn, and I believe in this way we can make ourselves more performant as teachers for the future.
Nice. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you. Is there any other question? I think there are no other questions. Thank you, Miss Corina, another time for this fruitful session, and hope to have you another time. Thank you
My
very much.
pleasure,
Thank you for our attendees from all over the world. Welcome another time. Wait us next Sunday, inshallah. We will go with a new guest from Jordan about reading skills, comprehension, and readability with Dr. Mutia Nimrat from Jordan on Sunday the 6th, inshallah. Wait for our advertisement and hope you will enjoy it another time. Thank you very much. Thank you. Goodbye.
What time?
Yes, as usual at 4:30 GMT, inshallah, on Sunday, 6th of March, with Dr. Mutia.
Palestinian time?
No, 4:30 GMT, 6:30 Palestinian time.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Inshallah. Wait for the advertisement as usual, and hope you will enjoy our next session, inshallah. Thank you very much and goodbye. Thank you.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, Ms. Corina. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.